Stop working. It's time for fun. This is Comics and More. I'm Andy.
I'm Steve.
I'm Lex.
And I'm Joe.
And we're going to get our geek on. So let's start off. Right before we started, we decided we wanted to bash Alex Ross. Because, you know, he sucks and everyone that likes him sucks. And he can be replaced by an app, we decided. Because sure. There is an app that does that.
There's apps that make it look like a photo I took of my son has been sketched, you know, with chalk. I'm pretty sure.
But is there an app that makes the picture you took look like your dad? Because if not, you can't be Alex Ross.
I have one. It's the camera. It's a standard on all phones. I just go click, and then I run it through the painting app. And it turns him into Superman.
I just, you know, I think that's what made me lose my worshipness of Alex Ross is when, like, I recognized his dad in a photograph and they were doing some interview or article about him, and I'm like, oh, there's your dad that I've never met that I feel like I know because he's in every goddamn comic you draw.
And your neighbor. And your neighbor's cat.
And that lady that you met at the grocery store once that you paid $10 to dress up like Wonder Woman. And
you took 7 photos, and then those are the same 7 photos you keep painting over and over and over again.
And they're very nice pictures. But I'm done. And please either draw something new or stop drawing. One or the other. I don't care which, just pick one.
I don't know, maybe do a full comic. I think it'd be cool to see another full comic like Kingdom Come or Marvels, where
I'm sick of the crappy Pulp Hero covers, and that's all he does now. He's like, I'm going to do another Flash Gordon. Like, thank you. I liked your Flash Gordon cover. It was awesome. You just drawn it 17 more times. It's the same cover. Stop. Like, how many Doc Savage covers can you draw? Oh, 1, because they're all the same. Because you don't have another person that'll dress up like Doc Savage.
Next year.
You just made Pete cry.
Yeah, probably, yeah. I'm not bashing Doc Savage, Pete. Don't relax. Deep breaths. What I'm saying is, Alex Ross doing drawings of him is tedious. And Doc Savage is tedious, too.
I want to save this joke till next year when we're bashing Scotty Young, but I might as well say it now. When he gives Bill Watterson all the credit for the Calvin and Hobbes style that he stole, I will be so...
No, it's an homage. It's not
It's an homage, okay. An homage. What should you give credit to it? Calvin and Hobbes as a Magneto. Circular head, circular eyes.
Yeah, but you know what? It's so cool, it doesn't matter if it's...
It looks good.
I do love me some Scotty Young variant covers. I've never cared that much about variant covers, and the Scotty Young stuff is just... That Morbius one. So good.
I like when he even does the non-baby stuff, like when Cable and Deadpool sort of separated, and so it was Deadpool and whatever guest, and he was doing covers for the book at that time. And
but they weren't babies?
They weren't babies.
And they weren't...
he's got actual...
And they were really, like,
styles.
The Captain America Deadpool...
Were they Frank Baum
cover.
Characters?
No.
Wait, they weren't babies, nor...
No.
That might
as
be,
a matter
Were
of
they
fact,
Dorothy Gale?
You know, most
they
people,
weren't his dad either.
Well,
I'm going to admit this
He
now.
seems to have style.
And it won't come as a surprise to anybody, but I like the New Warriors. And that miniseries right before...
the prelude to Civil War.
Yes. He did that was his miniseries.
Yep.
So it was not baby style. It was not... I like his kind of... He's got like a flow to the characters that...
That book, which was, at the time, Civil War was huge. Scotty Young is now huge. At the time when Civil War was out, and I tried selling that as the prelude to Civil War, I could not give that book away. People wouldn't touch it, so I find it hilarious now that Scotty Young is, you know, Mr. You know, King shit, and everyone loves him, and he's so popular, and it's like, aren't you the same person that ridiculed me for trying to get you to read this New Warrior series? Because the art, quote, sucked moose? Like, and it's the same guy. Like, he didn't get infinitely better. It's just, he didn't draw babies. It's not that you like Scotty Young. You just love babies. But they are adorable.
They are.
Good old Scotty Young.
You know who Scotty Young should draw? Who I guess he hasn't drawn yet, but we're hoping that he does.
Beak?
Beak. Of course. Because he would be an awesome Scotty Young character.
He would be. All right, this I think would be the test for you as for Joe as a Beak hater and a Scotty Young lover. Imagine if he did like a 4-issue mini of Baby Beak Adventures, because I would have to buy that, and I hate Beak as well. But I would be down for that.
I would buy that.
They could do it too. I mean, even if it was just like Beak, and it was one of those things where it was Beak and the Butterfly Girl, and it was their kids, and they were raising them, and it was kind of like a family circus thing, which I never really thought was funny. I don't know about the family circus, but
because it's not funny, it sucks.
Absolutely
like,
terrible.
Oh my god! But they got all those stupid little winged beak babies flying around, and they could do like the little dotted lines
and
as they fly through the X-Mansion.
It could be like a build up to. I still don't remember the Beak's son's name. That's in the end of that new X-Men.
Sucky McSuckington and the Suck
No,
Tones.
he's good. He's tough. You'll see. You'll see when he comes back in comics.
No, it can be a prelude to Axis.
Yep.
That's just a prelude to the next Marvel event. Will be.
He'll be the new Penance.
Oh no.
It'd be like one of those things where it says what mutants do when they're not super weaponized mutants, regular mutants that the X-Men are actually saving and defending. So you'd be able to go and make like little funny jokes and like Modern Family with mutants, except for like you'd have a chicken-faced mock the got dad, and then little
Working at McDonald's,
and then the little beaklets.
How much better would Modern Family be with mutants? Oh, that'd be so awesome. Although I think Gloria is a mutant because those boobs defy gravity, and she has. I can't remember her real name, but Sofia Vergara, whatever. But she has such great comedic timing. No one can look that good and be that funny. So she's got to be a mutant. Her mutant power is to trick us all into thinking she's hot and or funny. I don't know which.
She may be an alien.
Yeah, ooh.
That'd be DC.
Modern mutant family.
And actually, she's a woman, so DC won't.
And actually, Beak is in that because Ed O'Neill, and he's looking a little frumpy nowadays. He kind of does look a little bit like a little Beak action.
That's a low blow.
And for those of you who don't know who Beak is, Google it. We'll wait.
We won't wait.
You're welcome. He is possibly. He's usually on every top 5, 10, 15, 20, whoever does a worst X-Men ever list, he's usually up there.
But he's not usually number one.
No, because we have Maggot.
Number one.
Maggot exists.
I would take Maggot over Beak in a fight. If I was like, hey, you're gonna be in charge of X-Men team Plaid, because I think they're up to that color now.
Probably.
I'd be, and I had Beak and Maggot. I would be like, I'm taking Maggot.
I would rather take Beak because that way, at least when I get my ass kicked, I can be like, hey, I had Beak on my team.
I had a severe handicap, you guys.
And if I won, I could be like, yeah, I still won. Oh, by the way, I had Beak on my team and I won. Booyah! Why don't you give me a color that exists? No more fuchsia, no more periwinkle. Something in the Crayola 8-pack, all right?
He could have become a super mastermind after. We don't know. Although, he might be dead, but...
He's probably dead. His wife, girlfriend, Angel with the wings, probably just beat him after. She's like, why are you so stupid looking?
She wasn't that great looking either.
Well, she wasn't.
She was weird.
But compared to him, she was a hottie.
She could fly, I guess, technically.
Well, she needed to fly because she was a little on the larger side. So that was how she was able to walk. She was like that guy from Dune.
That guy.
That guy. You know what I'm talking about. He just floats around, yeah.
Was it Baron Harkonnen? I think that was his name. I remember him from the movie. He just zips all over the place, and then Sting shows up in a Speedo. Man, that's a weird movie.
That movie is great.
Oh, good old
And then
Sting.
Al from Quantum Leap shows up.
Yeah, and Patrick Stewart is in it.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And there's a scene where Patrick Stewart has long hair, but he's still bald on the top of his head. It's just the hair on the sides of his head is really long. And I was like, why did this happen? I don't understand.
He wore a cap too much. I don't know.
Just proof that Patrick Stewart is that awesome.
Yeah, he was still great in it. He taught him how to knife fight with shields. It was weird. I don't know, this is a weird movie.
Good movie, though.
Yeah. Hey, did you guys see that that leaked Marvel movie titles until 2019?
Yes.
Joe, did you see it? I don't know if Steve
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yep.
Avengers
War of
26.
Kings. Yeah, Avengers 26. Black Panther.
Oh,
Captain
it's a long
America.
time.
Why's it got to be a Black Panther?
That's the character's name.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But has that been confirmed?
No. And I don't think it's real.
It has to be. They've been talking about a Black Panther movie forever. Wesley Snipes.
Because they had
He's
the
getting too
whole-
old. If they don't hurry up, you won't be able to have
Wesley Snipes would be a horrible Black Panther.
Wesley
I
Snipes,
want
perfect. He'll turn
Donald
into
Glover,
Black
and then
Panther.
he can just keep saying how he's too old to be Black Panther the whole time.
Too old to be Black Panther.
No, the dude from the State Farm commercials. If we could have gotten him like 5 years ago, would have been
Lawrence
perfect.
Fishburne? No.
That's not Lawrence Fishburne. I ain't Lawrence Fishburne. That
Lawrence
is the funniest
Fishburne.
5
Jackson.
minutes.
Samuel L. Jackson
of
would have been
interview
a
ever.
No, Samuel L. Jackson was never in. Like, there's never been a movie where Samuel L. Jackson looked like he was in shape that I can think of. Lawrence Fishburne in Apocalypse Now was a young kid, and he was just kind of he was not all like chubby and.
Well,
like
yeah, because that
Samuel
movie
L.
was
Jackson.
50 years ago.
You got
Actually, it was
Wesley's-
40 years ago, 40-something years ago. Holy crap, that movie is ancient.
and Wesley
Because
Snipes.
that's not Charlie Sheen in that movie, that's
I
Martin
know, I
Sheen.
know. We talked about it last time I was here. I bring up Apocalypse Now every time, and I bring images that no one can see. Always.
That is true. We do have picture props that Steve brought,
I
so
love
we
to
can
do that.
look at the pictures. So we're all enjoying all of the drawings that he did, and you can't look at them because, well, you guys suck and aren't here.
I'm not
So.
enjoying them. They're all a beak. Can't enjoy that.
But
My
they're
shirt,
awesome.
t-shirt
The little baby
designs.
beak wearing a Whalers jersey and a hockey stick. It's awesome.
Grant Morrison wrote that in there, I'm pretty sure.
I think you're
Morrison
just
said he
retconning
loved
that.
the Whalers. He was also a Chicago Bulls Bears fan, I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive.
Wearing a Whalers jersey and a Bears cap, but the cap couldn't fit on his head because of that weird
The Mohawk
hair
yeah.
thing that he has.
Okay, so I read this really weird article that was talking about that.
Did it say
leaked-
beak didn't suck?
No, it didn't mention beak.
Okay, then it
sorry.
wasn't that weird. Continue.
Okay. It's talking.
got
It was talking
exclusive on
about those leaked titles, and one of the arguments the guy was trying to make was like, listen, so if the third Avengers movie is called Civil War, and the third Thor movie is called Ragnarok, well, Ragnarok is the clone of Thor that's in Civil War, and I'm like, dude, you're reading way too far into this. They're calling it Ragnarok because it's a big event in
Yeah.
Norse mythology. That's the only reason why they would call a movie that.
Ragnarok was the end of the world. And
Well-
they've done that story multiple times in the Thor mythos.
It was actually
the most
just the
recent.
death of the gods. Christianity did it.
We experienced Ragnarok. It was called the Second Crusade,
Yeah.
and it went through Northern Europe. And suck it, guys.
Well, not just that, but they had Hulk listed with, what's it, World War Hulk.
Yeah.
They've already said numerous times it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that's a
Don't
bummer.
get your head. Don't get your hopes up. It's not going to happen. So when I saw that,
Because we
on the
ran out of
image-
people that haven't played Hulk already. I think everyone in
No,
Hollywood.
Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is the next Hulk, except I don't know if he can speak.
He doesn't need to.
Yeah. He could be the Hulk, and then when he's not, like when he's the Hulk, it'd be like the Lou Ferrigno thing, where he could be the Hulk instead of digitalizing him, and then they could have someone else be the little
Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner.
The little
Dave-
guy.
Channing-
or
Channing
David
Tatum
Banner,
could-
as they called him on the
Seth
show.
Green will be
Seth Green.
will be
Seth Green
Buscemi.
and Brock Lesnar. That will be great.
Steve Buscemi, just like in Ultimates.
Well, it wins automatically if Steve Buscemi's in it. That guy is like the grace of movies. He's like, oh, it doesn't matter what.
Yeah,
movie
the
it
worst
is.
movie he's made was probably Armageddon or
No,
the
no.
Rock one, and that was still pretty good for a crappy
It
summer
was
movie.
the worst movie he made was the one with
You can't think of it. It doesn't
prisoners
count.
on a plane.
Con Air.
He was in
Con
Con
Air.
Air.
He was-
Yeah,
I
he
forgot
was-
he was
that
in
movie
that,
sucked.
yeah.
You know what? But
If you like Con Air, you suck
his
too. Stop
part-
listening. Don't stop listening.
Go hang out with Beak.
Yeah, go
his
hang out
part
with Beak
in
like
that
Con
movie
Air.
was awesome. His part in that movie was awesome. If there's any reason to watch Con Air, is to see the Steve Buscemi part. If you can't get the clip from YouTube, the Steve Buscemi, he has like 5 or 6 lines, and he's awesome. They wheel him out, like on like a cart, and his face is like strapped because he's basically this.
He's
cannibal.
Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, but that's his character.
Some fava beans and Chianti. Oh. Con Air sucks, is the moral of the story.
Yeah.
Except for that part.
Except for that part.
which is why it got
If it
made.
wasn't for that part, Con Air would be lamer than Beak. But luckily, for whoever made Con Air, they threw Steve Buscemi, and his awesomeness overrode Beak's suckitude.
Beak wasn't.
John Travolta is the Beak of the acting world.
Okay, so they also
John
just the
Travolta
fact
wasn't
that
in Con Air.
Oh, did you want to talk about comic books
We're talking
instead
about
of
Nick Cage
Beak
now.
and Nick Cage movies?
I'm sorry. I know it's not allowed. So also the fact that Avengers 3 is called Civil War, and I'm like, but aren't they leading toward the Infinity Gauntlet? Isn't that what they've been leading to this whole time? So I saw that and I'm like, no, this definitely isn't real.
Yeah, I think those are definitely fanboy wishes. Plus the fact that they used the same font for like 3 of the different movies, and all the movies have their own font. And to me, that's the big killer, because they have to have everything super trademarked and sue-worthy, so they always want to have a million different,
Oh, and an Inhumans movie, which I think was the most likely thing that was shown on there.
That's weird.
Because we want to bore audiences for
No,
2
it's
hours?
gonna bore audiences, but they definitely seem to be leading up to that.
Have the Inhumans ever not been boring?
But they
There's
have
like 5 minutes in the 90s when Paul Jenkins tricked us into thinking he wrote a really good story.
That's because Jay Lee's art was so phenomenal that we didn't notice how bad Paul Jenkins' art was, or writing was.
It was phenomenal art.
They were so bad that
know
even
what
in the
happens,
height
though.
of all the Annihilation and all the Conquest and Guardians and all those awesome comics, whenever they brought the Inhumans in, the series is ended. Look at War of Kings, which was the last story arc in the Annihilation run, and after that they had to cancel all the books and they merged them into one book so they could finish the story that was like $5 or $6, and so sales dropped because it was $5 or $6.
Bad news for the new Avengers. They're involved in that.
Yep, that's the way you're going to kill that. Like the first Mighty Avengers series, that's what killed that series. You had 14 issues of a boring Inhuman story with Quicksilver, where Quicksilver knew all of the Inhuman secrets because
See-
they love sharing with outsiders.
I'm really curious now. Instead of like the worst powers on superheroes, the superheroes that are the least interesting. Because Beak, honestly, as terrible of a superpower as he is, he had some sort of interesting quality of being pathetic and terrible. But
Fair.
Quicksilver is just one of 30 fast people, and like they've tried and they've gone all over the place to make him interesting.
But they never made him furious.
I suppose maybe they should make
get
the
it?
Furious Quicksilver.
That'd be awesome.
But Inhumans has political intrigue sometimes. They should get George R.R. Martin to write an Inhumans
Oh
book.
my god, then we could have dongs everywhere.
Yes.
And then it would
Medusa.
never end. And they would just keep on talking about how, watch out, because the big dog with the tuning fork on his head might show up.
Oh, but he keep killing their characters, and they can't have that because comic book characters don't die.
Unless he brought Madrox, the multiple man, in, and then he could just kill him in every single scene.
That's true. Yep. Oh, that was another funny thing in that stupid article. The guy was like, "Oh, the next Captain America movie is going to be called Captain America: The Fallen Sun. Does this mean they're going to make Falcon Captain America and transition it in the movies like it is in the comics?" And I'm like, "No, you idiot! They're not going to do that because in a year he won't be Captain America in the comic books, and they wouldn't make Chris Evans not Captain America in the movies. Like, they're not going to do that."
I could see them doing that.
They can
No,
make
I
Black
can't.
Panther.
Only if they got
Not
in a
in a
big
million
contract
years.
dispute, and they already have him under contract for, I think, 2 more movies, so...
I don't
It's like,
know.
what else is
I
he gonna
think
do?
with the success of Winter
Oh wait,
Soldier,
maybe Johnny Storm.
well, with the success of Winter Soldier, I mean,
Yeah.
quite clearly they could go the
Well, they
route
could
of
go,
Bucky
yeah.
Cap.
They could, but I don't think they'd do that for at least another movie. And I could see them doing that for, like, Cap 4. But, like, you need to have another movie where, like, they start to make peace, and then, at the end of it, you could pull a Wrath of Khan, and, the needs of the many Avengers outweigh the needs of the one 1940s dude that should have died 40 years ago. That is illogical, Captain America.
America.
Oh, and then we could have an entire movie where then the next movie could just be Bucky bringing Captain America's body to like Brooklyn where there's magic water because Red Skull is trying to terraform Brooklyn.
What?
And they kept.
Did that happen in Uncanny Avengers? Is that?
No,
What
that
are you
happened in
talking
Star
about?
Trek 3, The Search for Spock.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the Star Trek reference was over.
No.
I thought you had ended it.
When have I never not run something into the ground? Have we met? I don't take my analogies and just stop. I bring them to their conclusion, sir.
You got like 5 more movies if you want to bring it to a conclusion.
Well, exactly. And then I lost my train of thought because you distracted me. I haven't even gotten to the whales yet.
I'm waiting for the Voyager reference. Captain America Voyager.
We can't reference Voyager. Christian's not here today. There are rules to be followed on podcasts. We can't talk about Beak unless Steve is here. We can't talk about Voyager unless Christian is here.
This isn't Nom, Alex. There's rules.
Can't talk about Sequest unless Joe is here.
Exactly.
So let's talk about Sequest.
Fucking Dolphins for the win.
Yep.
And that's where we could have brought in the whales, but no, you had to ruin it and distract me. So now we're done. We're done with the Star Trek analogy, sir. Are you happy now?
Yes. I'm really, really glad, actually.
All right. Well, so I wanted to talk about, because Guardians just came out, which I haven't seen yet, because, I never see movies when they first come out.
You're terrible.
I'm a horrible human being. But I did enjoy the article that was out about what Marvel did for Bill Mantlo, who I have to say I was very surprised, because I thought he actually died. And I was like, oh, now I feel horrible for thinking that. But he was in a horrible accident, I want to say 20-ish years ago, give or take.
Yep, he was out for a run, and he was hit by a car, and the person fled. I don't believe they've ever actually caught the person.
I wonder if it's the same person that got Stephen King.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
So,
But he's been basically bedridden for 20 years. So
Wow.
Marvel arranged for a private screen for him in his house of Guardians so that he could see the movie. Because he, for those that don't know, he created / co-created the Guardians of the Galaxy. Which, that was just a nice little step. The Marvel looks like they're at least attempting to look like they're giving a crap about their old creators. They made peace with Jim Starlin, brought him to the premiere. They, did the private screening for Bill Mandelo. Whether or not they're actually following through on any of these, is up to the debate. But at least they're taking that first step of making it seem like, hey, let's show the world that there are people behind these characters.
Well, the thing I liked, and I went Friday to see the movie. And at first, I didn't, I always look at the end of the movies. They have a special thanks, and it's got some of the creators' names. And I saw the special thanks, and I didn't see his name in it. So after the end credits, there's a little scene, like usual. It's a Marvel movie. And
Always stay for a Marvel movie, and if you don't, you're an idiot.
After the cameo that's in that little scene, they have such and such character is created by this guy. And I'm going, well, they put that in there, and I didn't see Bill Mantlo's name, and I was a little upset. And then I read this article, and there's a screenshot of where it has the special thanks, and his was above it. He had his own line. It said Rocket Raccoon was created by, and it had his name in there, and I felt much better about that. And I was quite happy that they
gave him that.
They put that, so it's in the credits. They've acknowledged him. They gave him a screening of the movie since he can't go to the theater.
They brought the theater to him.
It was just awesome.
Because, he did Hulk for years.
Rom.
The space sucked, which was awesome, even though the toy sucked.
Yeah, the toy was terrible, but that book, I remember...
What was that 6? I think the book lasted for like 6 years. 5, 6 years.
Like 70-something issues.
And the toy was canceled. It didn't even finish one Christmas worth of sales before they yanked it off of their production, because that was a crappy toy. That toy is so crappy. Go to YouTube, type in ROM commercial. You can see the commercial for it. It's so crappy they couldn't even have a commercial that made it look not crappy. And everything looks awesome on a commercial.
That's true.
That is true.
You're like, ooh, that Big Mac looks like it actually has meat in it.
Cookies for breakfast. Nothing could go wrong.
Well, Cookie Crisps are good. Come on. You don't need to make a commercial to make them good.
Yeah, why do you bother advertising for that? Yeah, it's a box of cookies that you can tell your mom you're eating for breakfast.
It's like, forget.
Why do I need a commercial?
Do I need an advertisement?
Every kid just innately knew Cookie Crisp is awesome.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups for breakfast. Oreos for breakfast. Ugh.
I call that Tuesday and Thursday.
As long as they're not the cereal versions.
Yeah, no, that's horrible. Why would you waste time cutting down those delicious snacks with, wheat and corn flour and things that might be construed as healthy? I just take my Oreos that fell apart in the thing and pour them in a bowl with a little ice cream that I let melt. So there's extra.
Not milk.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, good God, no. If I don't have any ice cream, I will use some heavy whipping cream. Just pour it over my
But I have to
Oreo.
put some sugar in there with it.
Yeah, just to counteract. I don't want too much fat. I think I just gave myself a coronary.
You
How do we
get
start talking about
diabetes from just thinking about sugar too much.
If you could, I just gave it to everyone listening, and I apologize. I'm sorry you have to stick needles in yourselves for the rest of your lives. Please forgive me, but it's worth
You're
it.
like the anti-Wilford Brimley.
Oreos are the right thing to do, and the right way to do it. I really want some Oreos now. What's even worse is they're not even giving me a kickback to talk about their stuff so much. I just sold 40 packs of Oreos. Because all 5 people listening are going to buy 8 packs.
Yeah.
Make sure you bring me one, bitches. All right, come on. Hook a brother up. All right, back to comic books.
Did we talk about Armor Hunters before on the show? I feel like we did. Maybe we didn't. I don't know. Valiant's doing Armor Hunters right now. It's great.
It's a lot of fun. It's everything I didn't want Valiant to do, and I'm still enjoying it.
And all the tie-ins are awesome because you don't need to read them to get the main plot, but you still get to see the characters from those books doing cool things within the context of the story arc.
It's one of those, like I call it, it's the perfect way to do a crossover where you just buy the main book. If you really like it, you can buy all the extra stuff. And if you just like Harbinger, you can just read the Harbinger book. And you can just read the Harbinger crossover book, and you don't have to read Armor Hunters. And there's just enough of the story progression that it catches you up. And I really like that. To me, that shows you give a crap about your fans. Like, you still want to make money. You'd ideally like to sell all of them to everyone, but you made the books in such a way that if you only want to buy half of them, you only have to buy half of them. If you want to buy them all, you can. And that's, to me, it's what they attempted to do back in the day with Unity, but they kind of failed a little miserably because by that point they had already fired Jim Shooter, who had the grand plans in his head, and then they just kind of half-assed it after that, and it didn't quite work. That was 18 issues of what the hell just happened. But Armor Hunters is nailing it. I am loving Valiant Comics. Every damn comic, like Quantum and Woody is their weakest book, and that's a pretty damn good book. Shadow Man was their weakest, but they canceled that. So now Quantum and Woody is back to being their weakest book.
Oh, poor Shadow Man.
And Quantum and Woody is hilarious. They have a goat with magic powers. And it ain't no bat goat over there, Mr. Steve, who loves bat goat.
I think
It was Bat Cow.
Bat Cow would totally stomp on the goat. I'm not kidding. I'm sure of it.
He would throw a bat cowering at him.
Exactly.
It'd be done.
Wasn't
No,
it
actually,
bat
the goat would totally win.
Yeah. Goat's got super speed, X-ray vision, laser blast. He's Superman without the
Right.
kryptonite weakness.
And he has the
Batman
mind of a
will be
middle-aged
Superman.
scientist.
Yeah, and there's no kryptonite. That's why Batman wins, because he got kryptonite.
He's got a
Actually, that's
point
not
there.
what he did. That's not how Batman defeats Superman. If you read the Mark Waid series that was in the middle of
The Tower of Babel.
Tower of Babel, he did not use kryptonite at all. He made his skin invisible, like clear, so that he couldn't contain all the sun.
Yeah, but wasn't that using red kryptonite?
I believe so.
Hasn't there been like
He
5
used red
different
kryptonite. That's
books
how
written in
that's what
which
it
he
does to
fights
him. Red
Superman
kryptonite
and
makes his
wins?
skin clear.
Like,
I don't
doesn't he fight Superman and win in Red Sun? He does it in The Dark Knight Returns. I'm pretty sure there are multiple books in which Batman always beats Superman.
Well, my favorite, though, and I forget which book it was a Superman book. They did the battle, and it's Elseworlds, what if, sort of thing. But Superman it goes bad and has to fight Batman. Batman goes, puts on his little kryptonite ring, gets ready to do battle, and Superman's like, really? He flies up to the stratosphere, just builds up, goes to Mach 87, just flies by and just hits Batman so hard he knocks his arm off, and then comes back. He goes, did you really think I wasn't going to try to do that? Like, yeah, the kryptonite affects me, but I was going so fast it didn't get me. Oh, where's your arm? Suck it.
Look at all this.
And it's like 4 panels, and you're like, yeah. Superman, pretty close to a god. Batman, he's a dude. He's kind of smart.
That's why
He's got some money.
the invisible skin thing worked, because he didn't go anywhere near him. Because Superman could probably just like stand way over here and like blast him with his eyes and burn a hole through Bruce Wayne's head. Like, Bruce Wayne's speaking, Bruce Wayne's dead. It's like all over. But the whole point is that Superman's all moral, which is funny because he's not even from the Earth. So he's
But he was
moral,
raised by good Kansas farmers.
So he's Republican.
Yes, which is why he's so great.
Okay.
That's why he's for immigration.
Wait.
I was reading an old Elseworlds where it was like medieval times, and John and Martha Kent found him in the field, and Pa Kent tries to kill him with his spade or his axe or something because he's the devil done brought the baby in the field. And Ma Kent's like, no, I said God is going to give me a baby, and look, now we got one. And he's like, well, all right, but don't tell them where he came from, because otherwise they're going to burn us like witches. I miss Elseworlds. Sure, half to 3/4 of them were god-awful. But those ones that weren't, man, they were so worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one where, Batman in Darkest Night, where he gets the Green Lantern ring. That one was pretty awesome.
That was pretty cool.
I miss Elseworlds. That's another thing I hate about Dan Didio. That was one of the things he scrapped. No more Elseworlds! But they were awesome.
But he hates fun.
He does hate fun. That's why he wants to always kill Nightwing. And this time, he's like, well, I can't kill him. How about I just make him boring? Then they'll let me kill him.
Dude, that Grayson book is really boring, though. Seriously, I read it and I was like, wow, this book's super boring.
He's like this dude who's gonna like sit in a room and talk to people, and then every once in a while he'll reminisce about the fight he got into in the last issue that you don't get to read. Buy this book next month as he reminisces about another fight you don't get to see, and he teams up with some villains you've never heard of that are the new horrible guys that are going to take over the world. Give us $4. Love DC. Sadly, that's their 5th best book.
I wouldn't know. I haven't read a DC book in a long time now. I've cut myself off. It's not been hard. Thinking about selling them some of my books from there that they gave me. They sold me. Here, have some back.
Oh, you know what book was amazing, but
Spider-Man?
Well, yeah.
It is
but,
pretty amazing.
but it just ended.
Fatale?
Ed Brubaker's Fatale. Last week ended. I don't know how many of us are reading that. I don't know.
Good.
I feel like Joe isn't reading it, but I think the rest of us
Everyone
are.
should read it. It's so good. I haven't finished it yet because I get the collections, and that the last story arc hasn't come out yet, but
It makes sense to do it that way.
that's the best thing Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips have done together, and possibly the best thing Ed Brubaker has done. And anyone that's listening to the show more than right now knows I love the holy hell out of Ed Brubaker. Hands down, my favorite writer. Everything he's written has been awesome. He could write the phone book and I would read it.
Fade Out.
Yeah,
Fade Out's coming out soon.
Next. But
That
no,
same creative team.
Fatale it really is better to read all in one. I actually read it like as it came out monthly, but then I went and I was like, okay, it sort of reads okay that way. But when I went back on vacation, and I had a pile of them, and I just read straight through. I was like, this one story. It all linked together, and I didn't realize that when I was reading it.
So it was what, 24 issues, right?
24.
Yes. The last one's thick too, so it's bigger.
That's what she said.
She said that. She did. It's true.
But yeah, because I didn't realize that it was a series that was going to end, because like earlier on, I think in the second or third story arc, they do this thing where they jump around in time and like show you stuff from the past.
They have all the little one-shots, which I think is the third trade.
Yeah, and I thought like, oh, maybe they'll just keep doing that, and that could like extend the overall story of this book almost indefinitely. But apparently that wasn't the direction they went. I was mistaken.
Luckily, it's an Image. Otherwise, they would do that with other creators, and they would end up sucking.
That's true.
Because if it wasn't an Image book, you would end up having Zorn turn out to be
he was Magneto, then he wasn't
person.
Magneto, then he was a person.
And all these characters that were made will suddenly become unmade. Oh, that would be terrible.
That was my big problem with... Darn. That was my big problem with New X-Men, was not that Zorn was Magneto, even though I didn't like that a whole lot. It was more that they went back and retconned it. Because I was like, no, dude, you approved all this story that this guy was going to write for you. You knew he was going to do this. You could have just told him to write it differently. Come on.
Yeah, it's...
And it even was ridiculous in the sense that they made fun of the fact that people believed that he had a star in his head. That's what Magneto basically did when he came out of the helmet. He's like, what were you thinking? A star inside a metal helmet? That's not his words. Magneto speaks differently than I do, but
yeah,
Magneto's much more eloquent.
Yeah,
that made Zorn go from suck to awesome, and then when they made Zorn an actual character, and he's like, well, of course. I mean, I had to find a real person that had this power, so I could kill them and take their suit and trick you into thinking that I was them, so that I could then mock you for thinking that a person like that could possibly exist.
Like, he wouldn't need to make. Come on. Magneto's pretty smart.
That's so convoluted. It made Grant Morrison's story look very vanilla by comparison. And for those of you that haven't read a Grant Morrison comic, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for me
I'm telling you.
and you at the same time, because Grant Morrison is one of the best writers in comics and one of the worst.
I'm blaming editors. I was telling you before. It's the editor's problem. There's clearly no more editors, like you were saying.
There's zero editors in
no one's saying, Grant, no, that doesn't make any sense. We're not going to publish that. They're just saying, sure.
They're like, give us more Sea Guy. Oh,
you've got a little sperm following you around, helping you out. Woohoo!
Nothing weird about that. People will buy it. All right.
Good idea.
Sea Guy sucks. Which sucks more, Sea Guy or Con Air?
Oh, no.
Sea Guy's
Sea
funny.
Guy.
Sea Guy only because Steve Buscemi is not in Sea Guy.
If Steve Buscemi was in Sea Guy, we'd have a contest. But
yeah, but also Sea Guy doesn't have Nick Cage.
True. It could be true.
That's why I think it's we're close to a coin flip.
It does have that like cigar smoking fish.
It does have a cigar smoking, but there's no John Travolta. John Travolta was in Con Air too. Oh no, I'm thinking of Broken Arrow.
Crossover. That's
the one I was thinking of. Please do not shoot the broken nuclear weapons.
That was Face Off.
That movie sucked too.
That had John Travolta, and he switched faces with Nick
Yeah,
Cage.
I'm 6'3" and weigh 240, and I'm gonna switch faces with the dude that's 4'8" and weighs $110, and no one's gonna be able to tell the difference.
Movie magic.
Movie magic.
Also, face transplant surgery is really that easy to do.
That's not even what bothers me about the movie. I accept, because whenever you have a ludicrous movie or comic book, suspension of disbelief, you have to pretend that whatever ridiculousness they hand you, you believe. So face surgery can happen, and it's instant. Fine, I believe that. That happened. But I don't believe that when I switch faces with any of you three, someone's not going to be able to know that I'm not me.
I think we would
because I think most people listening to the show have met me. I'm 6.5 feet tall. No one else at this table is. So if we switched faces, if I went home, your wife wouldn't be like, "Oh, hey, Joe." She'd be like, "Who are you? Why are you wearing my husband's face? Because you're a foot taller than him."
And what happened to your tattoos?
And where'd your tattoos go?
Have you ever read Death of the Family too many times? Is that what happened?
Yes, I read it once. That was too many times.
That was too many times. I cut all your faces off and put them in front of you to eat. Wait, just kidding. Ha, it's funny. I was like, no, that's...
There obviously was some sort of tongue surgery, too, because their voices obviously switched. Because when you switch a face, your voice switches also.
Yeah. But that's why I hate that movie so much. And I refused to even watch it when that came out. I'm going to the movie theater, and this was the West Springfield ones. They used to have that big, long tunnel to get to the movies. And so there was like every 3 feet was one of those giant posters. And every other one was a Nick Cage movie, and every one in between was a John Travolta movie. It's like, oh,
like
hey, look, it's
Netflix.
The movie where he's an angel, and then it's the Nick Cage movie where he does that eyebrow twirl and goes, I don't know what's happening. And then it's the John Travolta movie where he pretends to be an angel again. But this one was different than the Michael movie
Well, this
where
one's
he
for
was an angel.
kids.
Hey, and just another Netflix plug. Christian Slater apparently has lots of movies also, and they're on Netflix.
Val Kilmer, too.
I'm really amazed. I'd never even heard of these Christian Slater movies, but I've been watching some of them because they're not that terrible. I mean, it's Nick Cage or Christian Slater.
Did you watch Cleaning the Cube?
I saw that a long time ago.
Because that movie's awesome.
Yeah, Tony Hawk with his pizza delivery truck, and they're hanging off the back, and Christian Slater turns into Rodney Mullen at one point, somehow. He starts doing this whole thing. It's
and the chase scene in the parking garage, they have a big parking garage with all those big circular, downward spirals, and they have a chase scene on a skateboard with a car.
Yep.
And the skateboard beats the car because he can take the turns easier. It's a great movie. He used the skateboards to stop a big drug deal because they killed his friend or his brother or something. They killed someone. His stepbrother. So then he used a skateboard to track them all down, and he stopped the Russian mobsters or whoever they were with his skateboard.
True Romance was the best Christian Slater movie, I think, though.
Oh, yeah, you can't even tell it's Christian Slater. He's acting so well.
Yeah. True Romance, perfect.
That movie is actually really good.
I think that's the reason he has a career.
Well, Heathers, too, was pretty good.
Oh, that's true.
And in whichever Star Trek he was in for 32 seconds.
Oh, what one was that? Dang.
He also got to be in Young Guns, too, I think.
He's like the first... He's like a lieutenant on Takai's ship, right? Yeah, he's like a higher ranking officer on the ship that Takai is.
Did he do a Jack Nicholson impression?
Yes.
Yeah.
He walks in and he goes, Captain, your meeting is ready. And then the doors
that's
open.
all he's in that movie for.
Well,
I actually thought that was really weird because I was watching that movie and I saw him because that's earlier on in the movie. I'm like, oh, Christian Slater's in this movie. You never see him again. I was like, oh, I guess he's not.
He had an action figure in Robin Hood. There was a Christian Slater action figure.
Definitely at the big time then.
That was another boring movie.
I'm glad we got back to Star Trek, though.
Yeah, it's true. But when it's not Voyager, so it's okay.
The Undiscovered Country, was that the one that he's in?
It was either that or maybe Generations.
It's definitely not Generations.
I was going to go under Undiscovered Country then. Someone IMDb it and yell back to us what it is. We'll wait.
The show isn't live.
Undiscovered Country! Alright, it was Undiscovered Country.
You just type the little note.
Thank you, guy from
underneath
Jersey.
once it's posted. That's what I do when I'm not here. I write notes no one reads.
I read them and go, hey, someone commented. Oh, it's just Steve. Someone else comment. I want to comment about how Steve's comments are lame and how I'm awesome.
I will be psyched if someone commented my comments were lame, because it would mean someone was reading my comments and criticizing them, which is more than not reading them.
That's why we've never had the big time. We don't have a troll. We need a troll. Someone needs to troll us. If you're listening out there, don't troll us. Whatever you do, I'll be very upset. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
We're really going to flip out about it.
Oh, my God. I will go on a tirade. A tirade.
It'll be horrible.
It'll be as horrible as it's into the show.
Except for shorter. And I'll forget about it faster.
But it sure beats working for that hour, doesn't it?
Exactly.
It's funny because everyone that comes in the store that listens to it is always, doing the, oh, I really like when you mention that we do it at work because, that's when I listen. I'm like, that's the only reason anyone listens. Because as lame as this is, it's better than working. Work sucks is the moral of the story unless you work in a comic book store. High five, Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, suck it, you two. And everyone else listening. Working in a comic book store, greatest job ever or the best job ever?
The best job ever.
Just to rub it in everyone's face.
So it's not the greatest, best job ever?
Well, it is.
On a top
No, that would be
that
would be the guy that got to paint Rebecca Mormon, Jim and Jane Stamos during the X-Men movies, or better yet, Hotter Trick in the new X-Men movies.
Oh,
Jennifer Lawrence. That would be the best, greatest job ever.
I think she just had a bodysuit. I feel like I read about this because it was pertinent information.
In the new one.
Did they paint it? No.
Nope.
The bodysuit.
Just a bodysuit.
They use that stuff that the swimmers wear in the Olympics.
Some
So they
makeup
dropped her in
artist
the water,
just
she floats.
was like crying himself to sleep after he heard about that because like
You son of a! I lost my job.
That's why you're not supposed to read. Oh, I mean, read articles about movies.
Yeah, you're supposed to read comic books. I mean, come
Comic
on.
books.
yeah.
If you want to read comic books, we have a pretty short show. Hey, welcome to Comics and More. Go back to work. The end.
Comic
Sequest out.
Comics and more. We're only going to talk about more because there's no comics.
That'd be sad. That'd be horrible.
That's only because if you're talking about DC, then there's no comics to read. Don't bother.
Speaking of comics, though, what
Wait, why would we want to talk about comics?
what have you guys been reading lately, Steve and Joe? I'm gonna start with Steve. What have you been reading lately?
I read Fatale last week. I read what is it? The New Avengers, which was really actually pretty cool. And I don't want to. It's been really confusing for a while, but
Yes.
it's starting to make sense now to me.
I liked when they beat up the Justice League.
Was that? I thought that was an Uncanny.
No, that was new. There might.
Oh yeah,
be
no, that was new. Yeah.
Can we go back to like 2 Avengers books tops?
They gotta
and
go
one a
back,
week,
but-
like one a month. None of this 4 times a month and,
and one guy
74.
should write 2.
Yeah, so I can actually
But-
tell the difference between them because I don't remember.
But what about all new Ultimates? But what about Avengers Undercover?
Yeah, I've never heard of those ones.
Captain
Secret
America and the
Avengers.
Mighty Avengers coming out soon.
Oh, why?
Because we need more Avengers books.
Oh, because Captain America's gonna be black, and that's what the Mighty Avengers book is all about.
That's the Mighty
Minorities.
Avengers. That Thor is Thor going to be a woman in the Mighty Avengers and Captain America, or those different books.
No, that's just Thor. That Thor is gonna be a woman.
And in the Avengers.
Oh, is he gonna be in Mighty Avengers or a different Avengers book?
In one of the 7 million Avengers
Because
books.
Thor's a team member in 3 of the Avengers books.
Yeah, he's an Uncanny.
And regular, I think.
And
And
regular.
I assume he's in another one too. But I'm
Uncanny
forgetting.
is the one that people buy the least here, which is hilarious because the new
It's my
miniseries
favorite.
is jumping out of that one. So Axis is totally based on
Yeah.
the Uncanny Avengers, which I'm going to find really funny when everyone buys this and is like, wait, hold on, what happened? I'm like, that book that I told you that's really good by Rick Remender that you don't want to read because you hate Rick Remender because you read somewhere on the line that he wrote a bad story, that's not what happened?
I don't remember that happening.
I mean, to be fair, Uncanny Avengers is super confusing. Like, it's
Yes.
almost as confusing as Avengers and New Avengers, the Hickman Avengers books.
There's definitely a section in Uncanny Avengers that I'm still kind of puzzling around, but I think it's coming around now. Like,
Was that the kids
the
that were
time
dead, that
stuff.
weren't dead, that got better, that were bad guys, then good guys, and then Banshee turned blue, and then he came back to life?
The
No, no.
Apocalypse
no,
Twins.
there was the Apocalypse Twins, and then there was the what is his name? Kang Conqueror.
Yeah,
he
Kang
took-
Conqueror.
he- basically-
Kang the Conqueror, not Krang, because he's from Turtles.
Not Krang. Yeah, I talked about Krang last time. Kang the Conqueror. He basically is influencing them, and just trying to they're trying to trick him, and he's trying to trick them. I think, and then the Avengers for some reason decide to trust Kang, which makes no sense. I mean, when has he ever been trustable? I
Oh,
don't know.
Young Avengers?
The
Booyah!
whole- they had this whole
Don, you asked a
theory.
question, answered.
Well, they had this whole theory that, well, if the world ends, then he won't be able to conquer it, so he must be on our side. That's just stupid.
What?
That was one of the things I was like, Rick Remender, come on. I like your books, but that doesn't even make any sense.
That does make sense, because it's like when they team up with Doom from time to time. They know he's going to screw him over at some point, but he has to save the world from whatever Galactus or
So
the
he can
Annihilation
take care.
Swarm so that he can take over. So then he's going to turn on you as soon as he has it. But up until that point, he's going to help you.
There's a whole section in the middle of Uncanny, like after the Red Skull stuff, which is really cool, and then that's a bunch of time stuff going around. And I think that's the tangled up part that people probably get frustrated with.
Yeah, I think there was a point, because the Red Skull story arc, which was the first one, I really liked. And then there was a point in the second story arc where there were just like whole issues about how Scarlet Witch and Rogue just didn't like each other. And I was like, dude, I don't care. I really don't care.
Well, that's because they were trying to.
That was like 6 issues in a row.
Yeah, that was.
And
I
I think it was all 6 issues, all 22 pages were Rogue and Scarlet Witch bitching at each other.
An odd thing, and I'm wondering if it was in other books and I just missed it, but Rogue at some point gets all of these powers from all of these people and gets sent. I'll spoil things for people. I don't care. You won't be able to understand it. I won't be able to understand it either. And then just kind of takes all the powers and goes off to fight someone. And I gotta read him again, I guess, because I missed that whole fight. I don't know who she fought or what happened.
I assume that would have happened in like the X-Men Legacy book that she's in, but I read some of that, and that's mostly just her and Magneto having relationship troubles. They're on again, they're off again. What's gonna happen?
I should read that book.
Tabloid.
Yeah. Hey, you're 25, he's 74. What could possibly go wrong in this relationship?
But he got de-aged. His real age is like 150, but he just looks like he's 50.
And every time you touch him, all of the spoons and stuff start whacking out of the kitchen into your head.
Oh, you get all of his
Great.
Holocaust memories. Won't that be fun?
You get attacked
that'd be
by
horrible.
silverware.
Every time
your
Magneto
head gets
bones her, she has flashbacks to the Holocaust.
Oh.
Worst lay ever.
Okay,
Best reason for safe
why
sex.
are they on and off? That's probably a good reason why
Yeah.
they're on and off. I can't take these anymore. I can't take it when I get up afterward, walk into the kitchen, and everything attacks me. I get smacked by a toaster. The refrigerator door flies open. The dishwasher opens because we got chrome. Luckily, the soda cans don't come after me because they're not magnetic.
So it happens when you buy that fancy craft beer. Now you're getting hit with your...
She might have to go back to that the New Orleans guy with the cards.
Oh, Remy LeBeau?
All right, wait. No, never mind. That's an okay power. I was going to say that's a pretty stupid superpower too, but
He can blow stuff up,
things
man.
with cards.
He's like Boom, except better, which is
No,
saying...
Boom Boom, first
So-
of all. Not
Okay,
just
that's
boom.
true. Yeah, but no,
Boomer was the hot chick from Battlestar Galactica and/or the lame guy from Lost.
No, I'm pretty sure she changed her name to Boomer at one point,
Boom.
and then back to Boom Boom.
Oh no.
She had the boom booms.
Boom,
Licky boom
boom.
boom now, informer.
Sally.
Yabba dabba doo down the day.
Anyway, so Joe, what have you been reading?
Well, I've been really behind on books, and so I
You've
really
been on vacation, so I guess you didn't have any time to read comic books while you
Oh,
were on
I want to spend
vacation.
time with my family instead of read comics.
Yeah, actually,
Mr.
Weirdo.
Responsible adult.
Hey,
I know, right?
in his defense, I read a lot less when my kids are around because they're awake. You can't just sit there and be like, when you're on vacation, it's actually less of a vacation.
Like, I grabbed, Kyle and I, we don't share comics. I can't do that.
I don't share with my kid. I
But
love
you
them.
do read some of the same books.
So we do. So, I'm a Nova fan, and he's become a Nova fan, and then so I keep telling him, at some point this book is not going to be coming out anymore. It's just fate is the way it works. But
This
While
one
it's coming
lasted
out-
a lot longer than I thought it would.
If
I'm
they
like,
hadn't
well-
been tying it into Original Sin, I'm sure it would already be ending.
I only let my kids read Saga. I share that with them all the time.
Oh god, that's bad. It's a bad.
Well, I just let my
parenting.
kids read Cross. That's fine, right?
Saga, Cross.
It's like a religious comic. It's about God.
I don't read Cross. I just buy that for my little kids.
I don't know what's in it. I just
My
assume
daughter
it's
loves
appropriate
Cross.
for them from the
She
covers.
thinks it's funny.
I'm sorry,
But-
Joe. Continue.
But yeah, he's more caught up on Nova than I am. We have the same number of issues, but I'm trying to get through. I just finished getting caught up on the IDW Ninja Turtles books.
G-U-R-T-L-E power.
Pretty much, it's so good. Like, I love that book. What they've done with it, as far as taking things from the different cartoons that have been out, the different books, and just kind of having fun with it.
It's a hodgepodge of nerdness for, like, if you're a Turtles geek and love Turtles, like, they've taken they've pretty much taken all the cool parts of every Turtles incarnation and threw it in a blender and had Kevin Eastman swoosh it out and tossumness.
And that's pretty much what it is. It is just every month awesomeness. I really enjoy the book. I've been reading the
Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer has been just a shit ton of fun, and
Ricky Rackman from Headbangers Ball. Oh, I mean Rocket Raccoon.
Rocket Raccoon.
That's only a
Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, Guardians. It's Bendis at some point's got to go. If he leaves that
point.
book, that book would be so much better than it is.
That's how I feel about all the Bendis books at this point.
All those X-Men books are so, like, not anything.
I think X-Men are
They
probably
finally
DC
resolved.
Right now. I'm pretty sure that X-Men is part of DC right now, is in my world.
They make more sense than DC books. They're not bad, they're just not good. And there's like 20 of them, and they're all like, meh.
I don't think there's enough bad guys yet in the Marvel universe to really carry that many books, and I think you have to have that bad guy be interesting.
And like every one of my problem with all the X books is every one I have there's that one cool aspect about every one of the X books. And they don't do anything with that cool aspect, like all new X-Men. It's the kids from the past. Now, like, you could do a lot of really cool things where they find out some horrible thing they did, it had a weird interaction with someone from their life,
Like Jean Grey.
They do that like every, they did it in the first like 2 or 3 issues, and then that's it. And it's like, really, like, they don't get wowed by the world anymore. Like, you've been here for a week and you're already like, yeah, whatever. No, we understand that cell phones are a thing. And
they all got iPhones.
Like, we can the entire world's knowledge is at our hand instead of, like, going and spending weeks in a library to look stuff up in
like
an encyclopedia.
teenagers.
Let's go to space now.
Yeah,
Just
like,
regular old teenagers. That's
Scott Summers just flies
They
off
get
in
bored.
space with his not dead dad who's got better. And just doesn't even think about it. And, like, it's like,
Beast time traveled for him, too.
yeah, it just...
Nice. Good job, Beast.
No, I was so frustrated when they wrapped up the most recent Uncanny X-Men story arc, which was like 2-3 issues ago. And it was this thing they had been building to since the beginning of Uncanny X-Men, except not really. It was like at the beginning of Bendis's run, they're like, oh man, these are these bad guys. We got to figure out where they're coming from and what's going on. Why are all these Sentinels around? And then they just do nothing to investigate it. And then at the end of the story arc, it just like... The Sentinels just attack them, and they're like, oh, it's this guy who's doing it. I'm like, yeah, good job finding that out, guys. He had to literally tell you, like, who he was at the end for you to figure it out. And then, instead of actually defeating him, there's like a Deus Ex Machina ending where a new member, a new mutant guy, shows up, and he's like, oh, it turns out my powers are just way more powerful than I thought. I can completely de-escalate this whole situation and win in, like, 2 panels. And I was like, what the... This is terrible.